Hi everyone, good morning and thanks for joining today's webinar about Batch 4 WordPress site setup. Joining me today is Claire. Claire is actually fast tracking to become an English Word App, elite Word Apper. So she has been going through a lot of these things already, and I asked her to join to ask any questions that I might forget to answer, so that we have a recording of how to complete this batch successfully without spending too much time on it. This webinar will be quite long, I think, because setting up a site, preparing the orders, setting up the domain, it is a bit of work. So please hang in there. If you're watching the recording, you can of course skip some steps, so that will be more helpful for you. Let's dig in. So in this webinar, I will start with a bit of background information about the batches and the different sites we built. I will talk through the process of how to apply for batch 4 and get started. Then we go through the 3 major skills, the domain setup, the order sheet, and the WordPress setup. Then I'll talk a bit about how to review your site before you deliver it to make sure that everything is good there. And then the next steps after completing the sites, how you continue after that. If you have any questions, just either write them in the chat or for Claire, unmute yourself and ask them. Then I'll pause and we can go through the questions. So, bit of background, batch 4 is part of the batches you can earn in WordApp. So with WordApp, there is some requirements for you to get started, and everybody gets a chance to earn batches, and you get the reward points that are needed for each batch for free. So for batch 4, you need to have 150 reward points, which is a lot. Just as a comparison, you need to earn, you need to complete 150 surveys successfully, which in most countries will take you quite a while. So it's really, really important to prepare for this one before you actually start the exam, because earning them afterwards again is not terribly easy. As I said, I mean, you get the reward points the first time. So when you complete batch 3, you will automatically get the reward points for batch 4 once you're ready. And once you complete batch 4, you will have an opportunity to earn at least €150 a month. And you can also get referred to become an elite Word Apper in Word App and Fast Track training. When I say at least €150 a month, we're building new sites every time. So you'll basically get access to our order. And then you can just pick up sites from there once you pass, and you can build however many are available each time. In English, it's quite a lot. We get about 2-3 new websites a day that we're building. So there is a lot of stuff to do there. We're building different types of websites in WordApp. So some of the examples are upgrades of websites. So it's clients who have a website that is okay, but they want to have new content added, a theme updated, better images, better site structure, better footers, better headers. So we take an existing site and we log in and we actually improve it. We have premium sites. These are completely new websites that are completely empty when we receive them and that we set up for a client. These are only for people that have actually passed the batches and have been doing a very, very good job on previous sites. These are also paid very, very well. You get €100 for setting up the site there, besides also getting paid for the writing. So those are very, very nice sites to set up. Third one is money sites, and this is only for elite Word Appers. Here you don't only set up a site, but you also maintain the site afterwards. And examples of that are, for example, hairlinetransplantation.com, where your job on that site is actually to generate traffic and to make sales on the website. We help you with that, of course, and there's a lot of extra training for that. So once you become an elite Word Apper, you get a website like that you can set up and maintain, and we guarantee €1,000 of income there. So it's something to aim for if you want to make WordApp a big part of your freelance life. Most people, though, they start with restoring websites. So what we do with restoring websites, it's a website that was previously active, but for one reason or another is not anymore. So we actually reset up the site. So we create a homepage, 2 subpages, and a blog post, and we deliver that to the client. The payment for it is €25 for the setup, and you of course get paid for the writing as well, separately. And €25 will go to a coach to help you do the final fixes, review the site, and answer any questions that you have. But once you become 100% self-sufficient, you will earn €50 per site setup. And as I said, we have new sites coming through there more or less every single day. So once you get to the level where you have passed this batch successfully, you will get access to that order, and you can set up whenever sites are ready and you feel like it. So there's a lot of stuff you can do there. We try with most people who pass batch 4 to actually do a bit of a production plan where you can commit to building 3-4 sites a month or more, where we also try to actually get you the orders for it so that you can count on the income coming in each month. And since we control the entire process there, we can actually guarantee you the orders there as well. So this batch is something where you can actually start guaranteeing work for yourself, where you have full control over the entire process. And you don't, I mean, you're way less dependent on other people preparing orders for you. That also means that it is probably the most difficult batch to pass. It is a lot of different steps. It is a lot of tiny details that are very easy to forget. So it's important to go through this recording several times. Make sure you check back when you're actually building the site if you're catching all of the little steps that are involved. And then you will be totally fine. So the process is, of course, you watch this webinar, so you need to prepare for this one. It's not something that you just get started with. While you don't have to do batch 1, 2, and 3 before you start this one, you can take it as a standalone batch. I really, really suggest that you do take batch 1, 2, and 3 before you start it, because in there we go in way more detail about writing SEO content, using keywords, using negative keywords, how to write metas and all those things. So I suggest you take it before. Once you pass batch 3, you even get the reward points, so the 150 reward points that are required to build the batch 4 site, so you don't have to earn them yourself. So I really suggest you do that. On our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WordApp, there's also a lot of videos about specifically building WordPress sites. The 2 that I really suggest you watch is 1, speeding up your WordPress site, and 2, maintain your blog with WordApp.com. The last one talks a lot about the order sheet and different headers and things that are required there. WordPress and Elementor. So WordPress is the CMS, content management system, that we're using for these sites. There is a lot of information about WordPress online. Check some guides, check some videos, see how it all works. I will talk a bit about the basics today, but there is a lot more that you can do. So keep in mind, I mean, that you prepare for that. And the last one is Elementor. Elementor is the page builder that we're using for building these sites. And the good thing with Elementor is that it is not only fast, but it is also a very easy system to use. And you can build extremely professional websites using Elementor. You have a lot of options that I'm not going to cover all today, but if you actually check YouTube and see some guides about using Elementor, you will see that there's a lot of things possible that you can use to make your website design very, very good. Once you're completely prepared for the webinar and you feel you're ready to go, you can email linda@wordapper.com. Linda is one of our English elite WordAppers, and she will then prepare an order for you. If you have passed batch 3 previously, you will get the reward points, or if you have the reward points already, that's fine as well. Then you can also email her and get started. It will take a couple of days usually for us to prepare the order, because all the new sites that we're getting in, they are assigned right away. So we need to plan you in. So keep in mind, I mean, that you might not get it the same day. It could be the day after or even the day after that. And once you receive the details for your website, you have 5 days to complete the entire site. That means setting up the domain in the website manager and writing all the content and putting it up on the site with a good design. It is a bit of work, so don't postpone it until the last day. Actually get started on it and do a bit of work every day. Make sure you have a bit of extra time at the end to make any changes that you need. This is not, when you're doing it the first time, something that you will finish in an hour or two. Even very, very experienced people, and I consider myself to be pretty experienced with setting up WordPress sites. I've built hundreds of WordPress sites. There is times where I really, instead of doing it in 2 hours, it takes me 5-6 hours to build a site, just because I get on the wrong track. I try to do something cool that doesn't work out, and I just get stuck. So make sure you have the time to actually work on this. So let's dig into the 3 different things that we need to do. The first one is the domain setup in the website manager. So once you apply for the exam, you will get an email that tells you, 1, which site you're building, 2, it will have the order sheet for that website, and 3, it will have a link to the project you can use to upload the content in. So here are some of the steps that we have to go through in the website manager. So I'll just close the presentation for a minute and switch to the email. So this is the email that you will get from me to me in this case. So here I have the website that I'm building. The type, this is a restoration site. Most of you will get a restoring site to begin with. It has a link to the order sheet, and it has a link to the project. So the first thing I need to get started with is setting up everything in the website manager. So here I've created a list of what you need to do. And to start with, I'll take the domain. The domain will be shared with you. So it means that in the website manager, you will be able to find the domain. So I just search for the domain because I have plenty of domains. And here we have the actual site all ready to go. First thing I need to do is I need to update what we call the tags. So the tags are for us to keep track of different things, including the order process. So if the site is ready or not. Right now it says setup done. Setup done means that someone has installed WordPress, set it up on the server, put the DNS settings correct, and all kinds of things like that. So it is good for all to go into production. So when you take this website, you take away the setup done tag and you replace it with the in production tag. In production means you start working on the website. So saved successfully, so that is good. Then I click edit, and I need to fill out a lot of the details here that will help other writers, but also yourself, actually make sure that the content on the site will be done properly. First thing I usually start with is about the website. So for these websites, the restoration websites, we need to see what this site used to be about. So when I open the site itself, it's empty. There is really nothing there. So I go to a tool that is called Web Archive. And in Web Archive, I can search for the domain, and I can actually see snapshots of previous versions of this website that we want to use to rebuild in this case. So I go to 2018, for example. So there's a lot of snapshots of this site. Sometimes you have to go through the snapshots a bit and see if there is anything useful there. Sometimes they're completely empty. Sometimes it says this website is for sale. Sometimes it will say the website is down. So you need to be lucky with it. Sometimes it goes really fast. Sometimes you actually have to spend 10-20 minutes finding a good review of the site where you can see what it was about. So let's see if I am lucky today and if I actually get something that I can use. So remember, the site right now is completely empty. And what I'm looking for is to find out what this site used to look like. So I'm lucky. This has a snapshot that is actually good. And I can see this is a website about beauty products. It's a shop. And since we're not rebuilding the shop itself, we actually want to keep that option open for later, but we want to focus more on what the site was about and rebuild that. So this is a site about different beauty products that we will use. So In the website manager about this website, I can write a short description that will be visible to all WordAppers working on this website to say what this website is about. It's really important you do this when you get a new site, because once we produce more content, right now you will write the content yourself, but obviously if other people would start writing content as well, they need to have a description of what this site is about. So beauty matters. Let's see how they spell it normally, if we have any spelling of here. So beauty matters here is spelled as one word. So it's again, it's something you want to make sure you have correct in your description, so that also when you start writing the content, that you write it in the same way as it used to be used. It's a website about beauty products for women and men. There's some men stuff here as well, so I'm taking that one. Oops, I just need to move this around a bit. Very brief description here, but it more or less explains what this site is about. I selected topics as well, so let's see if we have anything beauty. So we have cosmetology and beauty products. That's obviously what the site is about. Then the target audience I need to fill in. So what is the typical persona of someone visiting this website? This is important for the tone of your site. So you can imagine that if this is a site, so this is a site about beauty products, it's mostly focused on women that want to buy products and want to learn more about products. You can imagine that if this is a site about something more technical, and these sites can be about all kinds of different topics. So let's say this is a site that is about something very local, then it is also focused at low, and if it's focused on local people, like a local city or town, you don't want to repeat obvious stuff, maybe, because people would actually know it. So the persona here is mostly women who are looking to buy beauty products online and to learn more about what type of beauty products they need. Age group selected as well. So obviously you can select more than one. Infants and childs, this is not really targeted at. This is more teenagers and adults. Elderly could be, let's see what the website used to be. There's nothing really here that seems to me that is focused on elderly people. So I'm leaving it out for this one. Gender, while it is mostly female, there's some male sections as well. So I select both. The language. So for English, always make sure that you select the correct language of the website. So this is IE, it's an Irish English site. So instead of having English and English Ireland, only have English Ireland here. And if it's not filled out yet, just make sure you fill it. The region, which will be which Google that we're actually trying to rank the site in. So in this case, it is google.ie, the Irish website of Google. And optionally, if the site is focused on a very specific local region, you can also put in a region. So if you, for example, have a main beauty in Stockholm, then your location would be Stockholm, because we actually want to focus on people that live there. So if the target audience is that, fill it out as well. In this case, we don't have it because it is actually based on everything in Ireland. Negative terminology, kind of important as well. So what negative terminology does, it is an extra rule in your template, the same as you have normal keywords. But instead of having to use this keyword to pass the rule, you cannot use this keyword if you want to pass the rule. So some websites, you actually need this. For this is, for example, a shopping section. I mean, it used to be a shopping website. Obviously, we're not actually going to put any products on it right now. So I don't, for example, want anything related to free delivery. Even later on, if I want to add shopping content on it, we're not going to do free delivery on this site. I mean, if it's written anywhere in the text, I would have to update it everywhere. So I much rather do that afterwards myself than I have the writers do that. There's some match types here. In previous webinars, we have gone about the different match types, but just to repeat, exact match means it has to be exactly like the word that is mentioned here. Stem match, we ignore the last letter and you can actually add different endings to it. So if I, for example, bike as a keyword and the match would be stem, then the last letter is ignored. So I can, for example, also biking would not allow this rule to pass. So I cannot use anything that starts with BIK. It would be a negative keyword that is not allowed in the text in this case. Another example is, and this is often used, of course, in Finnish, Turkish, languages like that, where you have different suffixes to different keywords. So not so much in English, although you can use it in some cases. The other match type is partial, which is used for mostly Asian languages like Japanese, where they don't use spaces. So we look for this exact string and we don't care what is before or after it. We don't look at any spaces there. So exact match I'm using here. This is good. There's a section here on do's and don'ts as well. This is where you can include some more information about what type of site it is and what kind of information you want on this site. So on this site, while it used to be a shopping site, it's not the main, we don't have any instructions to make it into a new shop. So I don't want to focus exactly on the shopping. So it's mostly about people learning more about beauty products. So I'm just writing that here. Focus the site, information about different types, beauty products. You can use list items to make it a bit easier. And you can also add things that you don't want here. For now, I'm just saying focus the site on information about different types of beauty products. I can update all of these things that are visible in the task later on, since I am a project manager on the project and you will be as well. So make sure you update this as you go when you get more insight on what is going on. Once you finish the website, the whole website manager information here that we're filling out now should be updated and actually matching so that other people can take over the website and still successfully complete it. Don't forget to save when you're done so that all the information is there. Let's see, what else do we have? So fill out the required fields. We went through that. There's a lot of other tabs here as well in the website manager. I just want to go through it so that you have a bit of an idea of what it is. Connections, this is the connection to our WordApp plugin. If you have any problems there, you can deactivate and activate it again. So you need to have the WordPress, WordApp WordPress plugin installed on the website itself. Once you do that and it's activated there, you need to also connect it here. And what it allows us to do is, for example, publish content directly on the site. So you don't have to manually upload the content. It's directly sent. It's very helpful with blog posts. But also we have one-click login. So you don't need to actually know the password to the site. You can directly get the information. It also allows us to see a lot of different details about the site for Google Analytics and things like that. So we sync all of that back. So the plugin is really, really powerful. We have something here called shared accounts. So these are the people that currently have access to this website. So if you need to share this website with someone else, you can either put in their email address or their business account ID and click share. So then you give multiple people access to the website. There's some analytics information here. Whenever you get a website, make sure that under settings, there is an analytics ID here. So we want to make sure that Google Analytics is installed on the website. And this is for all the websites that it's not for premium websites necessarily. So you need to check sometimes with the Elite WordApper. So if it's not here, check if it is actually correct, but otherwise it should always have an analytics ID here. You don't have to do that yourself. Somebody is doing that for you, but make sure that it is set up. You are in the end responsible for the site. So you also need to make sure that everything that is required is there. Analytics is one of those unless you're told that it doesn't need it. If it has an ID, also make sure that the link here is filled out and that it is actually connected to the right property. So under property, it should show the name of the website, which it does here. Other tabs, who is, shows information about renewal dates, content, previously published content. SERP book, this one is kind of important. So under SERP book, we can track the ranking of keywords. So we can make sure that the text that we produce, that they actually start ranking in Google. And obviously the goal of any text that we write is that it organically ranks in Google and that we get it to page 1 so that we can start getting traffic on it. Adding it, you can use the focus keywords here in the right column. So these are any texts that are related to the website, it will automatically pick them up. Make sure that the language and the region are set correctly. So this is Ireland and Irish. And we always track it both on desktop and mobile because they're different results. Whenever you add new content to these websites, so for this website, you will add the homepage. For the homepage, this will be the keyword, Beauty Matters. You will add 2 subpages and a blog post, add all those keywords here as well, so that we can actually keep track of them. It's important. Some other tabs here that are not interesting for now. So this is the setup you need to do for each domain when you get it. Always start with that first. Claire, any questions about this?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, good. Then we move on. Then we get the order sheet. So building templates in WordApp and building order sheets is a completely separate skill altogether that we only right now teach to elite WordAppers. We will open up more batches for that later on so that you can actually start learning how to do it yourself. But for now, an order sheet and templates will always be prepared for you. So in the website, in the email that you got with the invitation, you will have a link to the order sheet. Once you have passed the batch and you actually are qualified to build sites, you will most probably get access to a different type of order sheet where you see all the details that are required. But for now, I have a link here to the order sheet. Here, we start doing a little bit complicated things because I'm mixing 2 different types of sites, so bear with me here. In the order tab, you will always have the details of what type of site you're building. So for me right now, I am building drslots.com. So I'm mixing websites here a bit. It tells me what pages I need to build, and it also tells me something about blog posts that I'm building. Doing this later, you don't have to care about it now, but the order tab will always have the details of what you're actually doing. And sometimes it will also have something called pages to rebuild. So in this case, I put an example in here, beautymatters.ie/skincare. So in my example here, I can see that there is a page called skincare, and the client actually wants us to recreate that page. And remember, right now, this website is empty. So there should be a link somewhere with skincare that I can open again and that I can reuse. It doesn't need to have the same type of content on it as before, but it needs to be a text obviously about skincare. So that, I mean, can happen as well, that you get instructions for that. For this particular site, all the templates and order sheets are created, and the templates and order sheets are always split up per template that we have. So in this case, I have a homepage. I have, in this case, 3 subpages. And I have in total 10 blog posts for this particular site. So it's split up in 3 different order sheets. An order sheet has a whole lot of columns. All those columns, they connect either to the project, to the domain, or to the template. So always use all the columns. And every row in the order sheet is 1 text that you order. You will always have an example. In this case, I have an example here called Casino Blogs, and you need to rebuild it using your website. So I have Dr. Slots here. This is my domain, of course, that goes into the domain column. The other things I can just recopy. Let me just mark this correctly. So what do I have here? Should have prepared this a little bit better here. So normally when you get this order sheet, the columns that need to be updated are marked. The rest, if it's filled out, you can just copy it down. Make sure that when you copy down that you actually do copy and paste and that you don't just drag everything down, because sometimes, for example, template IDs might end with a number. So if you drag it down, it will actually do sequential numbers, so it will not work anymore. So anything white I copy down, and then I need to put in the keywords. So for this particular text, I have, of course, one focus keyword. The keyword here is Dr. Slott's Casino Hub. It's already prepared for me. So I'm using that one. And then there's instructions here on every other keyword, what it should be. So this one should be subpage 1 focus keyword. In my order, I can see this is a subpage. The focus keyword is best slots. It's already prepared for me. So I'm using best slots. Make sure that you check capitalization and things like that, especially if there's substitutes. So substitutes should always have everything in lower capitals unless it is a brand or a name or something like that. This is a link to subpage 1. Here I actually have the page slug will be exactly this. So let me just check, what am I doing here now? So best slots will also be the slug of the site. So I can just copy paste this down. This is an HTML link. So I'm taking the domain keyword here and it will be best slots. What substitutes do, and you've learned about this in a previous webinar already, you just haven't seen the setup exactly. Substitutes can create, for example, internal links so that you don't have to do those manually afterwards. So WordPress, of course, uses HTML. So this is the keyword you will see in your template when you're writing. But before we send it to WordPress, we will actually replace it with this HTML link, which is an HTML link for an internal link. Make sure that you always check internal links or HTML in something like onlinehtmleditor.net. You can simply put the HTML code and make sure that it is actually working correctly. So check if here, if everything is good. So you go through this entire setup and you fill out all the keywords. For some keywords, you will actually be asked to, for example, here is keyword without guide or modifier. So the focus keyword here is casino bonus guide. So this keyword would only be casino bonus. And it also might ask you to actually do some long tail keywords or something like that. For long tail keywords, the easiest way is to either use Google Suggest. So if I Google the keyword, I can see related searches, or you can use keywordtool.io to actually come up with keywords there. Those instructions will always be in your order sheet. So make sure you check through that and see what you actually are required to do there and which keywords you need to pre-process. For at the very end here, so this is the template structure. Sometimes here, some of the headers will also be either pre-produced or you have to pre-produce them. As I said, if they're in a color, you need to make changes. If not, and they're in white, you can just copy them down. If it's empty in the example, just leave it as it is as well. Once you have the entire order sheet ready and you have filled out all the keywords and things correctly, remove the example rows and download it as a TSV file. So mine is of course not completely filled out right now, but you remove the 2 example rows. I'm removing those. So here I only have 1 text, of course. For the sub pages, I will have 3 different texts. So here I will also have 3 different texts for mine. I removed the old ones that I've used and downloaded as a TSV. TSV download, you go to File, Download TSV. And I always just do undo so that I have the example back again so that I have it for later. So then the order sheet will always stay in order. Once I have this TSV file, I can go back to my email and I go to my projects that has been set up for me. And under the content tab, I can upload this TSV file. So I just click import, upload, and I need to do this for every single different template. So in this case, I will have to do it 3 times, 1 time for the home page, 1 time for the sub pages, 1 time for the blog posts, so that in total I will have all the different texts here. Once you do that, you click start. And once you click start in your task feed, the tasks will show up and you can start writing them. The editing and the publishing will be done by your coach, by the Elite WordApper. So once you finish text, please tell them so that they can start editing and publishing. With the writing, same as with batch 1, 2, and 3, the quality of the content needs to be excellent. No spelling mistakes, no grammar mistakes or anything like that. And since you've passed batch 1, 2, 3, most probably when you do this, you will not have any problems with that. Also make sure that all the content is written as it should, especially the meta titles and descriptions. Most of the people who fail batch 1 do so because they write bad meta titles and descriptions. And it's very, very important that you write those correctly. Check some of the previous recordings on our YouTube channel to make sure that you do what is required there. In the project that you get here, you will always have 2 roles. So normally you would be writer and project manager. Don't make any changes there. This is what is required. There will always be your Elite WordApper here as well, who will be the project manager, editor, and the publisher. And when you get the project, of course, it will be private, so nobody else can work on it, only you. And same for the editing, it will also be done by the Elite WordApper. So just double check before you start the task that both of these are unselected so that nobody else can work on your tasks except for you. Once you write the task, Elite WordApper will edit them and publish them, and you will just get paid for it in the app. So sometimes it is 4 pages, sometimes more than 4 pages, it depends a bit, but you will always get paid for it. So once you finish with this step, of course, you're writing the text. For mistakes, could write the meta titles and descriptions. These are extreme. I'm just repeating it again. Meta titles and descriptions are so incredibly important for a text. It's the first impression that your text makes, because most of the people visiting these types of websites will come through Google, through a search engine. So they will not see your text, unless they decide to click on the meta title or description and actually go to the page. So spend some time on that. And it is not something that you write in a few seconds because they're so incredibly short. You need to make sure that you spend some time there to actually entice the writer to click and to stay on the page. When you're writing the content, the templates, they're prepared for you, but make sure that you keep the site building in mind. So I will show you how to build a site after this part. There's always different sections on the pages. So usually pages are not actually one big piece of content. They might be split up in different sections on even one page that we all write in one template. So keep that in mind a bit. So once you have all the text done and everything prepared, then the site building will start. So I'm going to keep my project template open here. And I need to start doing my WordPress setup. You can already start with this when you're waiting for the editing and publishing after you have written your text. There's a lot of things to go through here, so please bear with me and watch the video back to make sure that you capture all of the different elements here that are required. So first thing I do is I go back to the website manager again. So website manager, I search for my domain. Most of you will only have one domain probably, but if you have multiple, just search. And in this drop down here, I go to WordPress dashboard. When I do that, I can log in and I will directly be logged into the WordPress site. Then the first thing I need to do, let me move this over a bit. I need to make sure that all the plugins that we need are actually installed and ready to use. Some of those will already be installed for you, and some you need to actually install yourself. So installing plugins is always through the dashboard. And you go to the plugin section. So first I'm checking which plugins are already installed. So any plugins that we don't need, for example, these two, just delete them. And do this before you actually start building the site. You can, of course, install multiple plugins that you want to use when you're building the sites besides these ones. But always, any plugins you don't use, make sure you delete them. Very often, teams and things like that install plugins when you use them or when you import templates. So when you start, just make sure everything is empty so that you have whatever you need there. So let's go through it, see which ones we have. We have Word App. That's good. We have Neve Pro. Yep, we have that one. We have Elementor. It's not visible here, but if we have Elementor Pro, that means we have Elementor as well. Elementor and Elementor Pro, they're both visible. Good. Envato Elements. Let's see, I have that one as well. Yoast SEO, already installed. I'll just update it. This one as well. Auto Optimize. No, we don't have that one yet. Just waiting for this plugin here to update. So I can say add new. And I'm installing Auto Optimize. How do I spell this? Should be like this. I'm installing this one. So when you're installing new plugins besides this one to build a better site, so plugins are very, very helpful when building WordPress sites to add additional functionality. Be sure that you check, what plugins you actually install. Make sure they're updated. So you don't want, unless they're mentioned in the list here, if you use any additional plugins, don't use things that are outdated. They are, one, a security risk, two, they will negatively impact your site speed, and three, they're just a headache to use with. So make sure your site is updated and that it has installations and reviews that are good. So don't just take random installation, don't install random plugins that you don't actually use and that are not updated and often used, because they can really, really negatively have an influence on your website. So I'm activating this one. Then I need redirection, another plugin. So I don't have it here, so I'm adding that one as well. Usually what I do is I just install them and then I activate them in bulk later. This one I need. WP Super Cache I need. Again, so now I installed all the plugins. Don't forget to activate them. You can just do it in bulk. So now I have all the plugins that I need. Next step, where am I? Is configuring all the plugins and the settings. So first one I always do is the WordPress Yoast SEO wizard. You can find it here at the very top. Just run through the configuration wizard and make sure you set all the settings correctly here. Do this both when you begin the site setup, but also do it just before you deliver again to make sure that everything here is set. Obviously, my site is live and I want it to be indexed. Always choose that. The type of site. So this is, in this case, I guess, a blog, probably. Name of the organization. In this case, it is the name of the site. So use the correct spelling like we did before. So we found the spelling on the old site. So that is where Beauty Matters. Actually, what am I doing now? I'm trying to set up Beauty Matters, but we need to do another site. Okay, so I'm just going to skip to another site because we're not actually doing this one in this case. Claire, what was the website that you were building? I need to just go to another project. Yes. Otherwise, we're losing a lot of time because I'm not going to build 2 websites today. So same process, but I mean, for Claire has actually prepared another website already. So I'm going to use that one to build it. So I'll just log into that and we'll start from there again. All right, so starting with my plugins again. So as you see here, the site is in Swedish right now. You can just change it under settings. There's plenty different things where you can find how to do it. Just make sure you change that. So let's see which plugins we have already. This one we don't need. This one we don't need. These are all good. Delete. Just making sure I update all my plugins that are there. So the only one I'm missing here is Auto Optimize. Oops. Okay, so once you have all the plugins installed, you need to do all the other configurations of the website. I wrote down the entire list of things that you need to do here. So I'll just start going through them. Usually the first thing I start with is I remove whatever is all here because it's just extremely cluttery. So in screen options, I can delete all these different things here. Except this warning, I'm leaving that one because this client needs to know. This is not something you can update yourself, but always make sure you tell the client or the elite WordApper that there is a problem there. So any warnings, make sure you keep them. Second is I always do the updates. So there's a bunch of updates that I need to do. Oops. So updates are important. One, for the security of the site. Outdated plugins, themes, or WordPress core can be a real security risk. And 2, it also actually makes your site a lot faster. So make sure that any updates that are there, that you always run them, both when you get started, but also before you deliver the site, make sure you run any updates that are pending again, so that once the client gets the site, that everything is there updated and ready. Those are all done. Then I go through the configuration wizard of Yoast. My site is live. This is a blog. The name of the site, in this case it is Chips and Tables. What should be indexed? Pages and posts should always be indexed. Anything else should not. Multiple authors. None of the sites we use, we want multiple authors. It creates a lot of duplicate content, so always set this to no. Name of the site, so this is Chips and Tables. I usually use this as a separator. You can do what anything really. No, I don't want Yoast to track any data. I don't want to buy anything right now. And I'm done. Then I just work my way top to down. First the posts. Make sure you remove any template content that is there, any sample text that we don't actually want. Make sure you remove it from the trash as well, so that it is completely gone. Same for media. Make sure that there's nothing in there, anything that we don't use. It's both for pages, post, media, and pages. Remove anything we don't use. So I always do it at the beginning, make sure everything is empty, but also at the end again, when you deliver the site, make sure that any images that you uploaded that you actually decided not to use, that you remove those, so that there is no extra content there that just takes up space. Same for the pages. I have here a privacy policy and a sample page. I'm not using those. These are all the content that Claire wrote previously, so they're already pushed to the site, so we will use those later. So the sample text I remove, I don't need any of those. Again, I'm removing it from the trash as well, so that they're really 100% gone. Good. Then I go to configuring some of the plugins that I have. So I have redirection here that I need to configure. No, I don't want to monitor permalink changes, and I don't want to keep a log either. So it's just testing if the REST API is working. It is, so I can finish the setup. That one is good. Under settings, I also have some stuff. I always start with general. Oops. Okay, this one is working. Settings, I start with general. Site title is of course the name of the site. Tagline, in this case, I don't have any yet, so I'm leaving it empty. Site language, you can, you put it in English or whatever language you want, but make sure that at the very bottom here that you set the HTML language of the site. So in this case, it is English Ireland, which should be this language code. I need to check.
Is it Ireland?
Yes, it's English E-N-I-E, right? Should be. Check the documentation always to make sure. This one should probably be good for me. Also the time zone, make sure that you set that as well. So for Ireland, it is, I guess, +1, right? So it's +1, GMT +1. So make sure you set that one as well. Always save your changes, otherwise everything will be gone. Writing, here I don't have to do anything. Reading, we of course use a static page for this. So I'm going to select the home page that I have, which is this one. In this case, I don't have any post page, but if your site has posts, which most of your sites will, make sure you create an archive page. So it's just an empty page that you call blog or whatever it is in your language. And you select it here. This is where all the blog posts will come up. If you want to learn more about that, read about blog archive pages and you will find a lot of information there. I'm leaving it empty for here. Under discussion, we don't want anyone to leave any comments here, so I turn all of that off. I also don't want to show any avatars. I turn that off as well. And I'll just save those changes. Media, I don't want to organize my uploads, so I'm unselecting that and saving it. Permalinks always should be set to post name. If it's not, make sure you change that. Super cache, I need to configure. So it's off now, I will turn it on. And just test the cache. So this is an HTTPS, it has a secure link. So make sure that you unselect the send non-secure request. Everything okay, so that is good. And then auto optimize, I also need to configure. So we always optimize JavaScript code, CSS code, and HTML code. Save changes and empty cache. Big warning here, that can go for now. And in Yoast, I don't know if they're still doing that. It's been a while since I set up a site. Let's see. No, this is all good. So here you don't have to do anything. So now we have done the basic setup of the configuration of the plugins and settings. We removed any sample pages and we made sure that everything is up to date as it is now. So the next part is selecting a template because obviously we don't want to build a site completely from scratch. We can, and you can if you want, but using a template always makes life a whole lot easier. So I always use a template. There's 3 different templates that we give you access to that you can use. One is the Neve templates. I always use Elementor because it just makes the site a lot easier to build. Neve templates you can find under Appearance, Neve Options. And there is a tab here for templates somewhere. Starter sites, they're called. So you need to install the plugin for it, and then you have a bunch of different starter sites that you can use. I'm not going to use this one for now. Another option you have is using the Elementor Pro page templates. I will show those in a minute. But what I'm going to use today is Envato Elements. I will use a template from there. So under Elements here, I have something called Template Kits. And here you see all kinds of different example sites where the design is more or less done, where you can just stick in your content and make the site look good. It goes a whole lot faster, but you need to find a good example here of something you can actually use. You can always preview the website to see what it looks like. So here you see you have some different options for home pages and things like that. Depending on your site you build, find a good example. You can spend hours and hours on this. What to look for exactly, you will get it with more experience. So try some things out there and look at, I mean, you've written the content, you know what different sections are there and what you can rebuild. So it is, I mean, something that makes it go a lot faster. The team that I will use is this Faber team today. I actually did the research last night and I thought this team looks pretty good. So I'm going to install this kit. And I will view this kit. So I have different page templates here that I can actually import and start using. So for the home page, what do I have? Different sections here. There are 5 requirements that need installing. Install requirements. So you see there's a bunch of things that I'm installing extra now that I will actually use on the site. I'm not going to be using any forms, so I will take that one away. So I will just install these ones. And this is different for every team that you use. What is, I mean, so the sites that you build, I mean, of course, now you're building only one site, but the goal is for you to start building many, many, many more sites after this. So try to build some templates that you can continue building on. Sites should always be unique, but you can reuse your sites on, like, I mean, for every 5 sites, every 6 sites, I mean, you can reuse a theme or different clients. You can use the same type of theme setup. So you can actually reuse a lot of the stuff that you have done previously. I will show you how you can download pages and use that in a minute. So what do we need to do? Create a header, create a footer, and then we start creating the pages. So the header, do we have any header templates here? We do actually. So I have a header template here already that I can import. So let's start importing that one. So this is my header template here. So I'm using Elementor Pro, so I can actually use this one. Let me just open it from here. So Elementor Pro is something called a template or theme builder, where I can create headers and footers and use them on all the pages. Some teams do it differently. So if you would use a Neve Pro template, you actually have separate settings for that. Make sure that you check the documentation of the team or check the documentation of the tool that you use to find all the information you need about that. It takes a bit in the beginning to actually do it correctly, but the handier you get with this, the faster it will go, and the more teams you use and the more different sites you set up, the easier you will get with this. So for this one, I'm using the team builder to create the header. So I'm adding a new header. I'm calling this the global header. So as I said previously, you have also Elementor Pro page templates. So for example, here I have all kinds of blocks with different headers that I can directly import and start using. For mine right now, I have a header section here that I created from Envato Elements. So I will use that one instead. So I will just insert it. And here in the bottom, I can see what it looks like on different devices. I will start on mobile, but of course I need to check that everything works in separate sections as well. I have a logo here that I need to create. The easiest thing that I always do is, this is, of course, it's a text logo. And if I do right click and inspect, I can actually figure out the size of this logo so that I can rebuild it easily. So the size of this logo, if I hover over the image, it says 96 times 23 pixels. For logos, I always use Canva. So I'm going to, what was the size? 96 times 23, right? 96 times 23 pixels. So I need at least 40 pixels, so we need to do it times 2. Okay, so what is that? 192 times 46. So I'm using the same like dimensions there. So the sample here is on a white, yellow background, we have black text. So the name of my site is, of course, Tips and Tables. So I will reuse that. So let's see if we have any interesting text items here that I can use for it. I guess this is going to be my logo. Very, very simple. The only thing is I need to probably delete the background from it, and I cannot do that here. So I'm downloading this one. So when you're building these websites, you need to become a bit handy with finding different tools and things like that. For example, I mean, on Mac, I can delete the background like this. You can, of course, use Photoshop or things like that as well, or you can use a completely different tool for creating a logo. There's plenty free logo creators online that you can use. Try not to overthink it too much and to make it too complicated. So this is my logo. Let's see if I can make this work. So here, for example, now I have this logo already. I'm removing this one. I don't actually want to use it anymore. So make sure you keep that all empty. And we're writing an alt text, of course. So this is the Tips and Tables logo. And I'm making that the title of my image as well. Let's see, insert. very, very, very small. Let's see if we do it full. So this is probably a bit too small right now. So we need to find some solution for that. Let's see if we can make it a bit bigger here. So this is really when you're building a new site, you always have to do a bit of trial and error here to make it all work. But the faster, I mean, if you have done a previous site with the same template, then you can actually reuse it. That's also why I use Canva, since it is actually saving all my templates. So I can easily go back and actually update the logo to get something else there. So let's try this one instead. So again, I'm going to remove the background from it. So these little things like removing a background here and there, or actually redoing the size of the image, I mean, it will just make the design a whole lot better. And obviously the clients, they buy the site for the content and for actually getting SEO results, but the eye also wants something. So it is, it's going to help you get more work, guaranteed. Again, I already used this, well, I'm not using this logo, so I'm removing this one altogether. Still very, very small. Let's see if I can make it a bit bigger. No. Still very, very small. What does it look like on mobile? Better. Right, so then I guess we live with this for now. Might go back to it later. I already have a menu section in here. Let's see. So I need to select which menu I'm using. I don't have any menu right now, so I need to set that up previously, like first. And what do I have here on the right side? I have some kind of hamburger menu. I don't actually know how this header off canvas works, so I need to check that later on when we start building the site and see what happens here. So for now, this is the header that I'm using. I need to update some things there. So I'm using it on the entire website as the header. So I'm setting that, save and close. So my header is here. I don't have a menu yet, so I will start doing the menu right away as well. So I create a new menu here. It's going to be my primary menu. Where is it? Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm going to add all my sub pages to this. I'm also going to do a custom link for the home page. Let's hope it's saved. So here I can change my header again. See what it looks like. So somehow the background here became white. What was it in our example? It was black, of course, I guess. So we'll just give it a black background here as well. So I can give this entire column a background here. One of the tools I use is this little plugin called Colorzilla. So I can actually pick colors from pages and copy them. Makes my life a lot easier if you use a lot of different colors. So this looks better, I guess. So we will use that instead. And here as well. Good, so we have the different pages in here already. We need to do a footer as well. So footers, again, depends on which theme or which template you use. You can create a new footer through the Elementor Pro section, same as we did with the header. But since we use a template kit and it already has a footer element in that, I will just use that one. So I go to my installed kits. And I have a beautiful footer section here already, so I will start using that. Just need to import the template. And then I can go to my template theme builder. Same as before, I'm doing a footer. So there's again a lot of different examples here, but I just imported one that I will use. So I will use that one, insert. Here I have my footer. So with the footers, what is important is that footers should always have links to the main let's call it pages of your website. So any website you build, you should always be able to reach any single page within 3 clicks. So a blog post should be reachable within 3 clicks. So from the home page. So you need links in the bottom. You also always need some contact information of the website to make it look real. And in this case, we're building a casino website. This is not a site you would normally build for batch 4. But for casino sites, we also need to have a disclaimer. So I'm not going to use any of these things here. So I will remove this altogether. I don't have any social media. I'm removing that as well. Here is some spacer that I don't need. Copyright is always good. So of course we use the site name. I have here a submenu with things that I don't actually use, so I'm removing that altogether. I can remove the entire column as well. Here we have a beautiful white logo. I can of course do that here as well. I just have to switch the colors around. Let's see if I can make that work. Let's see if I can remove the background of this. You see it's adding some extra images again that we don't need. Yeah, not perfect, a little bit small probably, but okay, better than nothing for now. There's a lot of spacing at the bottom here, so I will just take that away. This is a perfect place for my disclaimer. So in this case, it's a casino site, so I need some kind of disclaimer. Do I have any examples of that? So, let's see, I have a Finnish site here, what they actually wrote here. Okay. Then I have this whole section here. What do I do with that? Just remove that part. I don't want the button here. So sometimes you need to make up some stuff here to actually make it work. So contact we have, of course, but we don't have any address. We don't have any phone number. We only really have an email address. For these websites, it's usually info at. So info at. Fun facts. Do we have any fun facts? Claire, anything you can come up with?
It's at the moment.
So what do we have here? So for this particular website, we only have 5 pages. So I have a bit of too much information here. I'm just going to remove 2 of these columns. I'm just going to repeat the menu that I have on the top here as well. So I have casino accessories with a link to that. I have shuffle machines with a link to that. Casino chairs with a link to that. And about, is this working well? About us. Okay, that looks pretty good, I guess. It has a nice like background video and things like that. I'm fine with that. So again, the condition, I want it on the entire site. Still loading. What do you think, Claire? Do you have any questions about the header or the footer or things like that?
I need to go through it slowly. I can tell you've done it a few hundred times.
And a few more than that, yes, probably. Right, so I have a footer now. I have a header as well that both look pretty good already. So now I have this page here with content that I actually want to start using. So the template I have, it also has a homepage template that I can use. So let's take a look at what I have there. Where is it? Am I blind? Elements here. So in my template kit, let's see what homepage I have here, this one. So I will use this template and import it. It's a bit slow. So when you're building these pages, so I have on the one hand the content I wrote in WordApp, which gives me some content for the page that I will use. But within the template, you will see that there is some type of structure there as well. Don't be afraid to actually write some additional content to make the page work. It is a whole lot faster to actually write a couple of extra words in to make the site look good than to try and work exactly with what you have. It just makes things go a lot faster, and you don't have to play with coming up with all kinds of new sections of the site and edit those things. So try to use, some of the basic structure that you have already, then it just goes faster. Import is really slow, so I guess it's a pretty big page. Okay, it's imported, so I just go to my homepage here. So this page, first one I always do is edit page. In edit page, there is two things that you need to make sure are all done correctly. One, of course, so we have all the content in here already. First, you want to make sure that your meta title and description, that they're actually good. So they come from WordApp, but when you're building up the site, you might actually get a bit more insight of what you want to do with the site. So feel free to change them. It doesn't have to stay as is. And always check the desktop result as well to make sure that it passes all the rules, that there is no ... or anything, that it is too long. So make sure you check that correctly, that everything is good there. This, of course, it fits. Second, we also need a featured image to the page. This is for when you're sharing it, for example. Make sure that you set that when you finish the page. You can do it under edit page. For now, I will do edit with Elementor to actually start building this page. Question, Claire? No. So here I have my homepage template that I can import. I'm going to use the document settings. I hope. Let's see. No, I'm not going to use the document settings. I did it wrong. So I'll just remove those. I did actually do it correctly. Okay. One more time. Homepage. So yes, I need this. So it adds the entire template right now from my example here at the bottom. At the top, I still have my original text that I can reuse. So here I can start actually making changes to the website. So we have in Elementor, there is always sections. So sections have different elements in it. You can have inner sections that have columns, for example, and then you can have text items, images, buttons, and all kinds of things like that. All of those, you can do a whole lot of settings by right-clicking it, where you have different options here where you can make changes. I'm not going to go through all the details there. There is hundreds and hundreds of hours of videos on how to build an Elementor site and how to make changes there. So please check that out and use it to your advantage. So the content I have here is a short introduction. And of course, I need to have the focus keyword in an H1. So I already have an H1 section here. Every page needs to have one H1. This is a requirement. Make sure you do that. It's always the focus keyword of the website. So for us, it is tips and tables, of course. That is the focus keyword. I have a short introduction here that I can probably reuse. And let's see if it fits nicely in here. This section, of course, we don't need. I can remove this. This I can remove as well. So here, for example, I have a short header that is in a nice color. So I want to reuse that, but I don't actually have any content for it. So your casino, what do we do? Your casino equipment provider. Okay, that's the section here. I have an image here that is already there. Images, I mean, when you're building websites, please don't use super stocky images, especially when you're building casino related sites. Obviously, if I look for like casino and images, I am going to always get the same images. It's either land-based casinos, which don't work on online casino sites, or it is, I mean, super stocky images. I've never been to a casino where all the people are happy, young, and like this, or these ones where it's always stock. Don't use those. It's way better to use images like this, actually, that are more generic. So tips and tables, I don't think this image is actually bad, but if you want to change the image, let's see where the image is hiding. I can here at the bottom open up Navigator, and I can actually try to see if I can find, I guess it is not in here. Let's see where this image is hiding. Claire, your microphone is off and it is on, and it is very loud. Thanks. Where is my image? Here maybe? No. This is annoying. Usually it's easier to find the image. There we go. Here's the background image that it uses right now. I actually think this image fits pretty well. This is also why I use the theme. So I'm going to use this one. But if you want to change it, find whichever section has the image. You can click on it. We have Envato Elements installed on all the websites. Envato Elements is something where you can find all types of images. So you use it to search and actually find something that is relevant to the site. As I said, don't do stock images and things like that. Try to keep it generic, people happy. Those are usually way, way better to use. So here we have some kind of introduction setting. What do we have in our text? We have different types of casinos. Let's see if we have a section for that. We do actually. So our expertise here, this is probably a nice section that we can use because we need a light section. What else do we have in our text? And then we get some more content about us, reviews. So since these sections are really standalone, I'm actually going to switch the content order around a bit. So I'm rewriting this. Welcome to Chips and Tables. I don't have any links here. So I have a nice introduction here. Where is it? About us. When you copy content, make sure that you copy it in the text part. Otherwise, very often you will get some additional text on it that you don't want. So I'm going to use this one. This column I can delete. This image here, again, it's stock image, but it actually fits very nicely. So I'm going to use that. So this fits nicely here. Then we have, what else do we have? Reviews, some actual content, and some types of casinos. Types of casinos we can actually use here probably. So I'm going to remove this part. What do we call this? Types of casinos and gambling equipment we sell. Okay. Very, very big, so I can adjust the sizing of it a little bit. Let's reset it to normal. Oops. Let's see, we have a little section here. So I have an introduction, and then we have 3 different types here. So let's put an introduction here. What do we have? We have shuffle machines. I can change the icons here, of course. Let's see if we have anything slot machine or something. What is the other thing we have? Casino accessories. The last one is casino chairs, I guess. Yes. That's not going to fit. No. Okay, let's put this one in first. Chair. Just putting them below each other. So obviously these are the subsections to this page, so I can actually put in links here as well. So I have read more, enable button. Shuffle machines, we have a link here. That's a very ugly button though. Then we just put it here. Yeah, the color here is a bit messed up. What do we do then? Okay, then we use button anyways, but we need to make it look a bit more nice. Button. So probably this yellow would be good. So when you're building this, colors and things like that, they are very, very important. I mean, keep it in mind that you do those correctly from the beginning. Otherwise, you're going to have problems with that later on. So learn more. This will work, I guess. Let me save this one. Here as well, we do a button. And also for this one, we do a button. Need more. Okay. This whole column here, I could keep, but I think let's try what happens if I delete it. I think it actually looks quite good. What do you think, Claire? So there is this undo history here. So I can see all the changes that I did. I can actually undo it if I want to. So right now we have a top of the page thing. We have some about us. We have all our sub pages here. What's the sections that we still need? We need reviews and we have some SEO content here. So content, I guess we can stick in here. Let's take this away. Oops. Let's stick some of this content in here. Where is it? Here. List item actually looks quite good on the site. Do we have anything here that we can put? Nah, not really. Let's just put another one here. So what I said, really don't be afraid to actually move around some content that you have written before, to write some extra content if needed to make it all look better. It just will help your design a lot and it actually speeds up the whole process as well. What do we have here? This is good. So do we have any more sections? Yeah, we have the reviews. Do we have any review section here? We have client testimonials, 3 of them. That's good. Okay, so this I'm removing. We don't need this. Newsletter we don't have. Why us? No. But we have reviews here, so that's good. So what's the header you used there, Claire? Reviews?
Yep, reviews. Put testimonials in there.
This one is probably a bit too much. So here we have some reviews. So what can we reuse here? So we actually have some names and things already, so I don't need to make it up. That helps. Good. Don't make stupid mistakes like having a girl's name and a boy's picture or something like that. So his name is changing today. That's the last review we need. Oops. This can go. Get in touch. We don't really have that, but we can probably put an email address here, I guess. So okay, let's save this. Let's look at the page. What do you think, Claire?
It's good, thank you.
Not bad, right? So we have some menus here. What is in here? What do we have? No content added yet. Okay, let's see how the hell we add content there. Hmm. Here maybe. You think it's the mega menu? Could be. I should probably read the documentation of this one, but let's call this image mega menu. Nah, I'm just deleting that altogether. I don't really know how to change this one, so I'm just going to delete that. So my header. Oh, I can add content here. Okay, cool. That's good. So how the hell do I do that? No. No, no idea how to add content here. So I'm just deleting that one. But I'll make it yellow so that it doesn't look super awkward. Like this. So that's one page that doesn't look super ugly. Why is this blue? Was this always blue? No, those were black before. So let's change those back. Edit with Elementor. I feel like I've been talking for hours, but it has been, yeah, hours, 2 hours. It's been 2 hours. So I'll just change the colors of this and then I'm just going to wrap it up soon. Let's see what I need to go through. Okay, better. Okay, so this is the home page. I mean, there is a couple more pages left. So the sub pages will all basically, they have the same type of content. So the same template in Word app. So you can do one page template and actually clone it on the other sites. The way you can do that is using the, if you edit with Elementor, at the very bottom of the page, there is something where you can save templates and actually import them later on again. So at the bottom here, I can do save template. So I can call this home page. Then I can either download it and export it and import it on another website if I want to use it again. Or if I build a site, same as what we did initially when we imported the templates, you can also import this on the sub pages and just reuse it again once you have built it. So I'm not going to do all the sub pages right now because it would take forever and ever. I mean, not forever and ever, but it would take a while. Here I still have a blue one. Let's fix that before I forget it. So the sub pages, Claire, you will have to work on those. Let's see what you come up with there. At least you have an example now. Some other things that I do want to go through quickly. Let's make this black. So site review wise, there's a couple things that are important there. So I showed most everything now. So the subpages you do in the same way. The only thing we haven't done is the site logo here. You can do that under customize. Here you can also always set the logo and things like that for most of the teams, but you have to check the team documentation. So I can use header, change logo. So here I can set a site icon. I'll just use a black tile right now. I think that will actually look good. Nope, that doesn't work. No, I actually have to do a site icon, it seems. This one. Something here is updated now. So site review wise, what is important here is, first one is site speed. Any page that you build, make sure that you check the speed of the site actually. I use two tools for it. One is GT metrics. So here you can stick it in and it will actually load the page and it will give you some improvement points there that you can use. This is not, I mean, a definitive thing. We will use Google PageSpeed Insights for that, but this one will actually give you some idea of how to improve the performance of your page. Let's see what it comes up with here. Enable compression, we don't have that now. Serve scaled images. So some of the images here, like these ones, so you can actually open them up. So you see, these are the images from our review. They're actually too big. They're showing us 300 times 300, but we're actually resizing them to smaller. Just fixing small things like that will actually make your page a whole lot faster. So use those suggestions and actually fix them so that they're good. What we will look at when we're reviewing the site afterwards is Google PageSpeed Insights. And you need to have a score here of minimum, minimum 60 on mobile for all pages and minimum 80 on desktop. Right now, I'm not there, I'm sure. 33 on mobile, 83 on desktop. So desktop is good. Mobile, I need to actually make some changes there. There's an entire webinar on site speed for desktop and mobile. Check it. I mean, there is some easy things you can do there. I mean, just doing the images will help already. Make sure again, before you deliver the site, that all the plugins themes are up to date. I mean, it can change any single day. So even if you have done it when you started the site, do it at the end again as well. Make sure everything is up to date. Make sure all the template content is deleted. Then check the pages. So actually open your site in an incognito window. So I take an incognito window and actually make sure everything looks good there. What is really important is that you follow the links. So here I have a link, open it and see what happens. This one, of course, opens in a new tab now, which is really awkward. That's not what we want. That's why we're testing it. So that one I will actually have to fix because otherwise it just doesn't work. Also, of course, if you have wrong images, things like that, you want to make sure that you update that and that it goes correctly. Do it on mobile as well. Don't use, I mean, resizing your window. Actually open it on a mobile phone and see what it looks like. Because very often there is some funky things there that you need to adjust. There is webinars on youtube.com/WordApp that talk in way more detail about how to do mobile optimized pages. And also Elementor has a lot of information about that if you Google it. The very final thing is when your entire site is done, in the website manager, update the tag to under review. So you go to the website manager again, you take the website and you tag it. Instead of in production, you remove that one, you mark it as under review, and you tell your elite WordApper that you're done. Then, I mean, they will review the site, and if everything is good, you will get the badge. If not, you can actually continue with things. Let me open up this one again. So a couple final notes. It's always better to ask than to guess, always. There is a lot of things here. I mean, the elite WordPress are actually trained to build these sites, so you can always ask questions. If you are afraid that something is going wrong or you don't actually know what to do exactly, please ask them so that you don't, one, lose a lot of time. Obviously, if it's obvious things, they will refer you to, I mean, YouTube and things like that. But if things go wrong and you make a mistake and you want to like get some help, ask them. Design of the site, it matters a lot. I mean, that is the first thing anyone will ever look at. But design is subjective. So it is not that you're going to fail if your design is horrible, but so you will be able to continue with sites afterwards, but you are going to get some help with the design. So you're not going to get the badge until then. And the last one is the website is either done or it is not. So once you deliver it, you cannot go back and make changes. So it's the same as when we deliver a site to a client. Once it is done, it has to actually be done. I don't care if 2 out of the 5 pages are done or 4 out of the 5 pages are done. It needs to be 100% done. You have 5 days from the moment you get a site to actually build it. After you complete the site, there is 3 options. Either you fail. If you fail, and most of the times that is because you bad language, not following the technical like requirements. I mean, in this webinar, not having the right plugins, not having, I mean, followed the steps. Then you fail, you have to try again. For that, you have to earn 150 reward points, which is a lot of reward points to earn. It will take you a couple of months. So I would really make sure that you spend the time to actually do it correctly if you want to get the badge and start building sites and earn money with it. If you pass the technical plus the design, you will get more sites you can build, and you will earn €50 per site. For the setup plus the writing, you get paid separately. So that's where you want to go. If you pass the technical but not the design, you can continue as well, but you will continuing paying 50% of your setup fee to a coach. So you get €25 and the coach gets €25 to help you with your design and making sure everything is good until you're actually self-sufficient. So those are all the steps in there. Claire, lot of information, I know. Still quite a lot of things you will have to go through yourself as well, but I hope this is a good example. Do you have any questions, I mean, off the top of your mind that you want to go through?
No, I'm just going to have a very busy day, I think.
I think so too. I mean, anyone watching this this webinar will have the same idea there. Really, like, do your research for these sites. There is a lot of information out there that can help you. Use the coach as well. I mean, everybody in WordApp, we will always want to help you with things, but in the end, you're responsible. So ask for help if needed. We like working together with people if you're motivated and actually want to put the time and effort in it. There is so much information about WordPress, about Elementor, about different team setups. Check those, read documentation, and actually start learning what you're doing. 150 reward points. If you fail on this, it is very hard to earn them back to actually do another site. So take your time to actually build this site correctly. Make sure that you ask for feedback in between before you actually deliver the site, just so that, I mean, you catch some obvious stuff. Watch this webinar, go through all the details, watch the other webinars that we have online, and then you should be totally fine. But it is going to take you some work, 100%. That's it for now. If you have any questions to me, please email me, jordan@wordapp.com. You can reach out to me in the chat on the site as well, and I can help from there. Otherwise, I wish you all the best of luck to completing your site. If you're ready to go, again, I will go through the very first slides here. If you're ready to go and you're all prepared, email linda@wordapper.com. She will assign you a site that you will be able to complete then. And then if everything is good, you will get the badge and you will actually be able to start building sites in WordApp and earn a good income with that. So very much best of luck, and hope to see you guys. Hope to see your sites very soon. And I hope everything is good. Good luck, guys, and thanks for joining. Bye-bye.